Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salli wa sallim ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Fabricated, distorted, clipped, and misinterpreted quotes used by the Takfīrī Khārijites to justify Takfīr and Khuruj in Muslim lands. Part 1. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani posted by Abu Iyad, resenting the Sunnah that a Muslim ruler, no matter how sinful or oppressive, is not to be rebelled against and removed until and unless clear manifest kufr is observed from him, openly with the Muslims having strength and there not resulting greater evil and harm in the process. Takfīrī Khārijites work to ideologically justify their blanket takfir of rulers and governments and their open calls to rebellion and revolt in Muslim lands, and making this an individual obligation, fardul ain, upon every Muslim by using the issue of ruling better than what Allah has revealed. This is a detailed and complex topic in which a person can easily slip and fall into errors. In some of the forms of not ruling by what Allah revealed, there are differing views among the scholars, and this differing is employed in order to justify the broad methodology of the Khārijites, the Ikhwanis, the Tahriris, and their likes, who call to revolutions, coups, and overthrows as the only means of reform and establishing Allah's religion and His legislation. The Takfīrī Khārijites compile long list of quotes from scholars on the subject matter, not free of fabrication, misquotes, misinterpretations, and statements clipped or taken out of context or were inserted into these quotes. Sadly, there are young, impressionable youth who, desiring and seeking truth, find their way into the psychanalysis of the Takfiris, be that on social media or the tube, and then they are drawn into this web without having the knowledge, the means, or on the understanding of basic principles to make verification and to distinguish truth from falsehood. In this series, we are reading some of these quotes. A fabrication upon Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. The following statement has been ascribed to Ibn Hajar rahimahullah and is claimed to be in the 13th volume of the Maktab al-Salafiyya print of Fathul Bari. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani stated, the summary of this thing is that and there is ijma of ulama on this, that the ruler who abolishes any hukum of Allah is to be disposed, and it is fardul in on every Muslim to put his part in this khuruj. Fathul Bari 13:123. It is clear that this is just another of the filter of examples of fabrication and decision by the Takfīrī Khārijites to justify the methodology, and they spread this element to convince unsuspecting youth who desire truth. Clarification: here is the actual quote on the page with the correct translation. There has already preceded a study regarding this speech in the hadith of Ubadah regarding the command to hear and obey unless you see clear manifest kufr, with what does away with repeating it again, and it is in the Kitab al-Fitan, the book of tribulations, and the summary of it is that he, the ruler, is removed due to disbelief by consensus. Thus it is obligatory upon every Muslim to embark upon that. So whoever has the strength to do so, then he has reward, and whoever compromised, then it is sinful, and whoever was unable to, then it is obligatory upon him to migrate from that land. You will note there is no statement the ruler who abolishes any hukum of Allah. This is a raw fabrication. Number 2, there is no mention of the words fardul ain. Number 3, what Ibn Hajar mentioned is true, that when there is a clear open manifest disbelief, and the scholars have explained what this means, then it is necessary to remove him. However, that itself is with conditions. First, there must be the power to do so. Secondly, it should not lead to greater evil and harm, in which case patience and hijrah is enjoined. Imam al-Abbas rahimahullah said, except when Muslims see plain open disbelief for which they have no evidence from Allah, then there is no harm in them revolting against this ruler in order to remove him when they have the power. Also, when they do not have the power, then they are not to revolt, or when their revolt will lead to greater evil, then they should not revolt in order to maintain the general beneficial interest of the society. However, the Takfīrī Khārijites pay no attention to these affairs because they are short-sighted and act upon emotion, which is why they bring more harm and corruption to Muslim lands than the harm brought by the ruler himself through his sin, disobedience, and even disbelief. The activities allow third-party vultures and predators among the non-Muslims take advantage of the civil strife and trouble the Khārijites cause. This is why groups like ISIS, Daesh are engineered, funded, and supported by foreign nations and the intelligence services, because it allows an environment in which agendas can be justified and pursued. Number 4, We only need to look at places like Libya and Iraq to see this reality, with our knowledge that the rulers of these countries, Gaddafi and Saddam, had been declared disbelievers for their beliefs and settlement. However, when revolt was instigated in their lands by the non-Muslims in the name of justice, human rights, and ending oppression, and so on, and Muslims took to the street, it was the starting point of the destruction of those lands, the mass killing of Muslims, and the stealing of the resources and wealth. Number 5, the rule of dump, as we stated over 25 years ago in relation to the Takfīrī Khārijites, is never ever trust them in relation to quoting and translating from scholars, and never trust their compression, because as the Messenger said of them, that they are foolish-minded. Subhanallah ahlam. Sadly, they affect many young and impressionable youth who love Islam and desire truth, and draw them into their web of confusion. These youth are not in a position to verify the actual statement and whether they have been presented correctly or fully or haven't been tampered with. We ask Allah for protection.